Over the past 5 years, updates to wiring regulations have made surge protection a standard feature in most electrical installations. However, a common point of confusion among electricians is why some manufacturers' devices require an MCB in line with the surge protector, often taking up 2 or even 3 valuable module spaces in a consumer unit. Let's take a look at Lewden's latest surge protection device. This innovative single module unit connects directly to the bus bar without needing an MCB, saving precious space in your consumer unit. With this design, you'll have more room for those essential circuits like powering that jacuzzi bath you've always dreamed of. Gary in a hot tub. Sorry, some things you just can't unsee.
I've just had a surge event. Whoops.
Later in the video, we'll also have a sneak peek at some of the other new consumer unit innovations that are landing this year from Lewden. To understand the size differences in surge protection devices, SPDs, it's helpful to first revisit how they function. A surge or transient event is a brief but intense burst of energy that disrupts the standard 50 Hz AC waveform. If these energy spikes reach sensitive electronic equipment, they can cause potentially irreversible damage. Surge protection devices are designed to safeguard equipment by redirecting this harmful energy away from vulnerable equipment. A typical Type 2 SPD incorporates 2 crucial elements: a metal oxide varistor MOV placed between the line conductor and neutral, and a gas discharge tube GDT connected between neutral and earth. Under normal conditions, both the MOV and GDT maintain a very high resistance, preventing any significant current flow. However, while lightning is often thought to be the primary cause of surges, lightning strikes are relatively rare in the UK. Instead, most residential surge events are triggered by switching activity such as motors turning on or by power line faults near the installation. When creating a short circuit, our first concern is often the activation of circuit protection. You might assume this is why a miniature circuit breaker, MCB, is commonly installed alongside surge protection devices. However, that's not the case. SPDs are specifically designed to handle large amounts of energy over very short time frames and respond far more quickly than an MCB or fuse could. That said, there are limitations. An SPD can fail if exposed to a surge event that exceeds its capacity or through gradual wear after repeated surges. When an SPD fails, it often does so as a short circuit, which then triggers the MCB or fuse to protect the circuit. This is why an MCB is often installed in series with an SPD to provide an additional layer of circuit protection in the rare event of SPD failure. But why are we now seeing residential consumer units with SPDs that lack an MCB? All surge protection devices require overcurrent protection. However, wiring regulations allow this protection to be either integrated into the device itself or provided externally, such as with an MCB. How does this new single module device protect itself? The answer lies in a cleverly designed soldered connection within the unit. When subjected to a high current over an extended period, the solder melts, causing the connections to spring apart and cutting off power to the device. This action simultaneously activates a mechanical replace flag on the front of the unit, indicating the need for replacement. While this method is somewhat rudimentary, reminiscent of the old rewirable fuse days, it is a functional form of circuit protection. Its effectiveness, however, depends on the limited fault current typically found in residential installations. It's a fine balance. The solder connection must protect without blowing the property's supply fuse. This approach, however, is unsuitable for industrial applications where supplies generally have much higher prospective fault currents. The same principle is why consumer units use MCBs rated at 6 kA, while industrial systems require those rated at 10 kA. This solution is ideal for residential installations where surge risks and magnitudes are significantly lower compared to industrial settings. However, it's important to understand its limitations. If you're considering using this board in an industrial application, you may need to reassess your surge protection strategy accordingly. Additionally, while this Type 2 SPD is compatible with both TN and TT earthing systems, installations supplied by overhead cabling may require a Type 1 SPD designed for higher surge capacities. Another key point to remember is that an MCB's omission necessitates caution during insulation resistance tests. The SPD can begin conducting when exposed to 500 volts DC, potentially leading to inaccurate readings or damaging the device. To avoid this, either reduce the test voltage to 250 volts DC or remove the SPD cartridge from its holder during testing. I'll leave a link to this new consumer unit range from Lewden alongside links to some of the other surge protection device offerings. Let me know if you have any questions about surge protection. Of course, as wiring regulations have developed, there was initially a rush to bring in surge protection, often based on a risk assessment as to how close you are to the substation. But look at the market now, with all houses, especially new builds, being fitted with surge protection. That reduces the risk for everybody. But also, don't forget about remote buildings in an existing installation. If they're any distance from the consumer unit, they may need additional surge protection too. Lewden is introducing several exciting additions to its range for 2025. The first is a surface-mounted pattress, which is ideal for consumer unit upgrades where existing wiring is surface-mounted. The accessory pack has also seen significant upgrades, now including an incoming meter tail clamp, a full-sized DIN rail blank, and an adaptable rear entry grommet for added convenience. Select versions are available in a sleek, on-trend black finish for a modern touch. Additionally, a front lid locking accessory is now available, perfect for installations in public areas such as landlord supplies, where preventing unauthorized tampering with circuit protection is useful. Lewden RCBOs are now available in bi-directional options, specifically designed for solar PV installations and compliant with the safety requirements of BS 7671 Amendment 3. What are your thoughts on these updates to the range? Is there anything you'd like to see added? As the world of circuit protection continues to evolve with the growing adoption of solar PV systems, EV charging and heat pumps, these advancements may influence how consumer units are configured. To support you, we've created a free training module that delves into best practices for upgrading existing consumer units. You can find the link in the description or on screen now.